everyone, and welcome to our Virtual American Spaces talk today. We have a very important topic to discuss as part of our National Women's History Month programming. At first, though, I would like to kind of introduce this platform that we've introduced, the Virtual American Spaces platform on Facebook and on Instagram is where we are going to be sharing a lot of information, programming, cool resources that you can use to learn about the United States, practice your English, learn about different ways, programs to go and study in the United States, and more information. So please stay tuned. Every week we have interesting events and programs. For after today's program, we have next week an 8-week online program on effective English teaching by our English language fellow, Tiffany Tillman, who is also the panel moderator for today's event. Today, we're going to be rounding up our Women's History Month by talking about women's economic sustainability. So we'd love to see how many of you joining today are coming from areas where we have some of these women's empowerment programs. Some of you might know of one of them called the Women's Empowerment Centers of Azerbaijan. Maybe some of you have done this programming with our partner, SIPE, and we are really lucky to have one of SIPE's representatives here today on the panel. Please, in the comments, tell us where you're joining us from. Many of you are probably in Baku heading home for the weekend. Many of you are on the road already. Many of you are joining from other parts of Azerbaijan. Tell us what you'd like to hear about during the talk as well. And thank you for joining. Now I will be shifting this to our panel moderator, Tiffany Tillman. Tiffany has been here in Azerbaijan, in Baku, as the English language fellow, training Azerbaijan's future teachers of English for 2 years now. This is her second year. Thank you, Tiffany, for volunteering to be our panel moderator. How are you today, Tiffany? Thank you for joining.
I'm doing well. Thank you, Salman. Thank you for a lovely introduction. And we do indeed have an exciting panel for you today. So I thank you all for joining. Today we're going to be, as Salman said, discussing women in business and sustainability, economic sustainability for women. And on our panel, we have 3 panelists, Gulnara Mamadova, who is the project coordinator for CIP. We have Ilyas Safarli, who's the executive director of Ulachai. And we have Richard Gottschall, who is an associate professor of marketing and entrepreneurship at SUNY Plattsburgh University in the US, and also here in Azerbaijan as a Fulbright scholar at UNIF, the Azerbaijan State University of Economics. So I'd like to thank them all for being here today to discuss this very important topic and to really enlighten us with their insights into this and give us an idea of the landscape of the opportunities and the challenges here in terms of women and entrepreneurialism here in Azerbaijan. I'd like to give each one of you a moment to introduce yourselves and briefly tell us who you are and what you are doing, and just a brief introduction of yourselves. So if we could start with Gulnara, that would be great. Gulnara?
Hello, everyone. My name is Gulnara Mamadova, and I manage SIPE project. I work with SIPE. SIPE stands for Center for International Private Enterprise, and we are implementing the biggest U.S. Embassy's project called Women Empowerment Centers for Azerbaijan. I will talk about our project later, but for now, it's enough for introduction.
That sounds great. Thank you. And Mr. Ilyas, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your program?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me today. I'm Ilyas Safarli, Executive Director of Ulachai Social Economic Innovation Center based in Sheki, and which works on the socio-economic development of regions of the country. And we mostly concentrate on the entrepreneurship development, supporting the startups and expansion of businesses led by women and other vulnerable groups.
Excellent. Thank you. And finally, we have Richard. Richard, could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you. It's great to be here. My name is Richard Gottschall, and I am an associate professor of entrepreneurship at SUNY Plattsburgh. And right now I'm here working in teaching at UNIC. I have a background in entrepreneurship, having started my own businesses in the past. I worked with the U.S. Small Business Administration, consulting with entrepreneurs, and I've been a professor of entrepreneurship for about 12 years.
Excellent. So thank you all for being here and bringing your expertise to this really important topic. We're going to start off with Richard. Richard, could you give us a macro view of the landscape, really in terms of sort of answering the questions, what is entrepreneurship? Why should one support entrepreneurship? Why support specifically female entrepreneurs? And then how to support entrepreneurs going forward. So if you could speak to those topics, that would be great.
Thank you. Okay. Well, there's so many different ways to kind of define or think about entrepreneurship. I'll read a quick definition, or not so quick, but entrepreneurship involves pursuing opportunities to create something new. That could be new products or new services, or new means of production, new production processes. And this is done by people or small groups of people who develop and exploit resources. And these activities create a wide range of positive effects for the community and for themselves. So, I mean, I think the key thing there is this idea of creating something new. It doesn't have to be something super new, but entrepreneurs are looking to make even very small improvements in products or services that help their community. And I think that we can see how the impacts of entrepreneurs really create a better life and improved standards of living through innovation, either in their small communities or in their organizations, or even sometimes occasionally worldwide impacts that can, reduce costs of production or bring new to the world products to the market. So I think that most leaders, community leaders, want to have entrepreneurs that are coming up with creative ideas to make life better for people. In addition to the kind of societal positive impacts of innovation and entrepreneurship, I think it's also important that some people at some times in their lives want to express their creativity and their desire to have an economic impact. So I think it's also important to support individual human beings in their entrepreneurial aspirations. So finally, that kind of leads us to why support female entrepreneurs. Or, I mean, there's a variety of programs that reach out to different groups and try to provide specific supports for people to start businesses. But I mean, obviously, women are some 50% of populations, and they have a huge amount of talent in human capital and really perspectives. And I think there are specific opportunities for women to pursue, but there's also specific challenges that women face. And I'm looking forward to hearing from my Azerbaijani colleagues about their specific experiences here in Azerbaijan and supporting entrepreneurship generally and entrepreneurship for women.
Excellent. Thank you very much. And this is a nice way to lead into Gulnara, who is with us from CIPE. So, Gulnara, can you give us sort of an overview of the current state of entrepreneurship here in Azerbaijan and discuss the challenges that are faced by the women as who are entrepreneurs here in Azerbaijan, whether it's cultural challenges, financial challenges, regulatory barriers, etc. If you could
Okay.
touch on that, and you can actually bring in the mission of your organization and the primary activities that you are doing there, the challenges that you're addressing.
Okay. So SIPE is organization which brings private sector solutions to the society with incarnation with government sector, private sector, and non-governmental sector. And the project Women Empowerment Centers in Azerbaijan works from 2022. And since then, I am observing very closely the situation with entrepreneurship in Azerbaijan. Numbers of entrepreneurs grows every year. If you look at the state statistics, you can see that like by the end of 2022, there were 378,000 entrepreneurs, small, medium, and micro entrepreneurs. Also, the ones which are individual entrepreneurs, they are the number close to 1 million. It's close to 1 million. It varies because every year some entrepreneurs they close their tax ID. Some of them open again. So that's why you have to follow the statistics to get the exact number. But if you look at the trend, I can tell you that right now, 82% of all entrepreneurs are micro, meaning their annual profit, annual income does not go beyond 200,000 manat. If we take like last 3 years, approximately every year, 5 to 6%. A number of entrepreneurs and new entrepreneurs grow 5 to 6% per year. And if we come to women entrepreneurs, the challenge is that women entrepreneurs are not separated in our legislation. They're treated the same way as any other entrepreneurs. However, we can say that again, as years pass, we see that the number of women entrepreneurs slowly increasing every year. This is also a positive trend. And apart from that, I work with women entrepreneurs for the last 10 years and in different regions, and women entrepreneurs in Baku always have been active, but in the regions, not so much. But let's say if you take period 10 years ago, you can see that women in the regions were very, very afraid to start a business. Also, they were discouraged by their husbands or brothers, or they were led by male member of their families, and they were like staying in shade, although the whole entire business was on women's shoulders. But if you take situation right now or a year ago, you can see the dramatic change. Certain reasons, for example, yes, from that perspective,
Gulnara, I'm afraid we might have lost your audio. Your Could you
okay.
come a little closer to or try
Can
again
you
with
hear
your
me?
computer? Yes,
Okay.
yes, thank you.
Okay. So,
I
for
think
young
you
women,
left off around the part where you were saying that women are having a difficult, or historically had a difficult time entering business, even though they were actually fulfilling the role, they weren't. Okay, so please continue from around there.
They were not, even if they were actually managing the business formally, businesses were led by husbands or male members of the family. While now we can see that in the region, situation has changed. And I was talking about, bringing example of Hachmas women entrepreneurs, especially young generation. They're extremely active, and
In
they
what
want to go for the.
in which fields are you seeing women in entrepreneurial efforts in Hachmas?
Okay, if we take Hachmas, that would be touristic, rural tourism, handicraft, and bakery,
Nice.
because a lot of them can cook really well, and they working from home and also deliver various sweets to the deliver to the addresses. And
Excellent.
I'm
What
so
are
happy to see that. Yeah.
That sounds fantastic. What are some of the present day challenges? You spoke of some of the historical challenges. What are some of the present day challenges for women? You mentioned Hachmas, so you can stick with Hachmas or you could speak in general, but what do you see are some of the challenges for women um, starting their own businesses in present day?
Again, access to markets and access to finance, because access to finance always has been issue, because the interest rate is high for entrepreneurs. And again, even the banks, there's no special like a subsidy or something, or lower rates because you're women. That's why
Right.
women have to compete together with men for getting any kind of credit. And as for access to markets, from one side, going digital is a positive trend, because many women went on Instagram. They have their TikTok pages, Instagram pages, those who sell handicrafts and who sell like bakery products. They can find their customers. But when it comes to agricultural production, then it's hard to find easy and cheap way to get products to the capital and sell there, because obviously in the capital you can sell products at better price rather than at your door. And consuming capability um, of the of the people in the region is not so high if you compare like Baku.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. So, Mr. Ilias, following Gulnara's assessment of things and how her assessment of the landscape, could you please give us an insight into the mission of your organization and its primary activities, the challenges that you see within the landscape of entrepreneurship here in Azerbaijan?
Okay. Thank you, Tiffany.
Thank you,
Uh,
Ilias.
Uluçay, let me start with a quick presentation of the organization. Uluçay is a nonprofit founded in 1995 and based in Sheki, but covers many regions of the country, and implementing the projects mostly in Sheki, Zakatala, and Ganje Gazakh economic regions, and in others depending on the different programs. Economic development and the gender equality are two among the seven main priorities of organization. And that is why we are covering this topic as much as possible. And also the organization is involved in the policy research. And during one of several of our research, we identified the challenges women are facing to start, expand their businesses, as well as the problems they are facing in terms of the accessing to the funding. So we started to design and develop programs specifically to support such women and involve most vulnerable and marginalized groups of the society, the women. To such programs, including the divorced women, which are the single mothers, widowed women, even wives of prisoners, and the ex-prisoners women. We have implemented many programs in these areas, and among them are the one related to the vulnerable women. We have helped them to start their businesses, over to 15 women, and help them with the mentoring and the counseling after. And all of them are still functioning and operating in their businesses despite of over 6 years that they started their business. We had a project for ex-prisoners, and several women also benefited from this project, established their honey making business, and still also operating. We are visiting them frequently in when we are having field visits. We had a COVID project and helped people affected by the COVID and lost their jobs. And among the 40 businesses that we helped, over 22 were the women-led businesses. So we helped those women lost their jobs to establish their businesses and have an income source for their families. We have other programs as well, like a social entrepreneurship support program, youth empowerment program, and all of them have significant amount of the beneficiaries of the technical support that we have provided were women and young girls. What I mean the technical support, this is not the direct funding. We are providing the equipment. We are providing like furniture and other materials to start or expand their businesses. I mean, Günar Hanım already mentions main problems women are facing when starting the business in general. And I can say also that accessing the loans is the major problem, because women, the real estate is mostly on the name of the husband or the parents of the husband, so they can't give it as a guarantee when taking the loan. So majority of the banks are denying their requests to get the loans. And also the networking and accessing to the markets is also another problem for women who are not very familiar with how to deal with the different market actors, with the association and others. Among the main problems we have identified was for the education, business education, lack of business skills, management skills, and also lack of ideas. Because if we'll go to the regions, the majority of women their businesses are related to the beauty salon sector, this patisseries, sweets, and sewing. These are the major three areas where we are having women are involved in the economy. But for recent year, I've started to see in very specific regions like Balkan, Zaqatala, and Gaf that young women who are willing to start or already started their businesses are involved in the new ideas, and they are trying to bring the innovation to their businesses. Like the one opened a photo studio, the another one the macrame business, the woman involved in the wooden cutting business also. So we are started to see a new development and the new ideas by women, but still also as an organization struggling from having the same ideas in three main areas like the sewing, patisserie, and beauty salons. This is a little bit of information about what we've done, and right now we are also working on providing the startup support and the expansion support to women-led businesses in regions of the country. We are also trying to help with the networking related issues to women by establishing the women entrepreneurs clubs in several regions. These are not just the clubs. We are willing to create a sustainable working mechanism for women to get the mentorship support from each other, and also integrate the VSLA approach, which is the Village Saving and Loan Association approach, where women can gather and provide support to each other to buy the small equipment and have the interest in this, in the providing of such funding. This is a huge approach that we newly started, and it effectively works in many countries. So we hope that we'll be able to integrate this approach to our rural areas, and women will benefit from such support.
So that's
And
called Village Savings and Loan?
Loans Association, VSLA.
Loans Association. Is it
Yes.
like a micro loaning program?
Sort of, women are providing the money and buying the shares, and the other woman can benefit from this funding for purchasing of some small equipment, and then they return the funding with a very small percentage of interest. So without any hard bureaucracy or the guarantees, they can easily get the funding and solve the needs of their businesses.
Okay. And can you provide more information on this at the end, so that our listeners might have access to if they're interested in
Sure,
applying for that? Okay.
sure.
Excellent.
And I mean, for me, to obtain the woman economic sustainability comes from this several stages. This is the education, because we see not many women are have the necessary skills on the business management, development, marketing, sales, even the business plan writing. So it's very important to have such skills uh, providing to women, and then providing the support to start and expand their businesses, because of the lack of opportunities for a woman to access to the funding. And the third one, which is the main and important part, is the mentoring and counseling, because we see that after the starting the business, woman needs some additional help to solve the accounting related problems, tax related issues, or even technical mentoring from the counterparts and others. So these three stages, in my opinion, are very important to have sustainable businesses led by women, and not only by women as well.
Right.
That's all from
Excellent.
my
Thank
side.
you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's excellent information and a great way to lead us into the next part of our talk here, which is really having the three of you, I think centering it around the three points that Mr. Ilias just brought up in terms of, and Richard, maybe you can only speak to this in terms of sort of a macro idea of this, but Mr. Ilias and Ms. Gulnar could speak in terms of what how best to direct anyone here in the group today in terms of if they're interested in pursuing these three, or becoming an entrepreneur, starting a business, where could they find support for educating themselves on the maybe the soft and the hard skills required for a business, and then finding that, I believe you said, financial support needed to maintain the business, and then the mentoring and counseling that's needed once your business is going. So if you're a woman here and you're either in business or thinking of starting a business at any one of these stages, whether it's educating yourself as to what you need, finding the support to maintain your business, and then the mentoring and the counseling to sustain that business. Could you all three maybe speak to that? Richard could speak to what's available back in the States, but maybe Gulnara and Ilias, could you really maybe speak some more about that?
I'd be happy to say that, just listening to these two experts who have been doing this good work for years now, that it's a process of supporting an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur, it takes time to develop an idea and to grow an idea, and entrepreneurs need different types of support along the way. And it just, it could be financial, it could be technical. But if you're listening to this kind of conversation, it can almost seem overwhelming with all the different types of challenges that entrepreneurs face. But that is what entrepreneurs do. They one by one approach their challenges, and they have to seek out support. They have to seek this support out, and it takes some time to learn what they need to learn to be successful. So it is a process, and you see that if you're listening to this, it's not simple, and it's not easy, but there are people to help you out and programs to help you out at different phases, and there's other people going through this same challenging process because they want to. They're inspired. They have a vision for themselves, and they're willing to work through these processes with these people.
Right. One of the things that strikes me, and I'm not trying to input my own feelings here, but when Mr. Ilias spoke earlier about a successful story having to do with the collaboration between a group of women who had there was some crossover between their businesses, but they were all in separate businesses, but they sort of came together and created this support network. I imagine that that's very helpful. I imagine that women going through the same processes, even if their businesses are different, are going to run into some similar circumstances, and that in order to keep that sustainable, having that network and that support group of just your familiars in your area, one of you might know where to go to for X, which group to reach out to for this kind of support and that. So in addition to these organizations that are in place, just really on the ground, women connecting with women entrepreneurs connecting with other female entrepreneurs, I think is such an important message to get out there to find strength in community, because we don't all individually have the answers. So that's, and one person might have an answer for something. So I think that's, when you were mentioning this, it really struck me. So thank you for saying that. So Ilias or Gulnara. Oh, sorry, Richard, go ahead.
Well, just really, one of the things that we talk about is typically entrepreneurs do not start businesses by themselves. They almost always have partners. If you look at, Steve Jobs did not start by himself, and Bill Gates did not start by himself. Right. Mark Zuckerberg did not start by themselves. You need some kind of support network.
Mm-hmm. Right. Excellent. Thank you. So, Mr. Ilias or Ms. Gulnara, would you like to make a comment about?
Well, I agree that any woman needs support. It's just it's different support. Like if some women they know how to run the business, they have this inspiration and energy and knowledge. They don't have financial support, so can be financially supported or given like a seed funding. Some women they have some money, they run the business, but in the end, it's not very successful because of the wrong management or lack of certain soft skills or inability to hold negotiations. Because of those things, also the business cannot may not run well. So I think it's all different from individual, from women to women, and also different from even from region to region, even from from capital to region. And I actually see here in the comments that there are a lot of women from the regions who joined this discussion, from Lirik, from Hachmaz, from Kudat, from Shiki. So I would ask also this question to them, that what kind of support do you need for your business? And if I may, can I also speak in Azerbaijani? So if not everyone speaks English, so they can answer.
Yes, please.
Şərtlər yazdığınız üçün təşəkkür edirəm sizə. və bura bu diskusiyaya qoşulanlardan xahiş edirəm suala cavab verəsiniz və şərtlərdə cavablarınızı yazasınız ki, sizin biznesiniz olsaydı, yaxud biznesiniz varsa, hansı növ dəstək siz istəyərdiniz? Hansı növ dəstək sizin üçün zəruridir? Çox sağ olun. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
did you add? I'm not quite sure. Yeah, there are questions that they might have.
I asked the question that which kind of support is happening, or if you would like which kind of support you need to run a development. And I asked to write answers in the comments.
Excellent, thank you. So while we're waiting for any answers to this question that you posed, Mr. Ilias, were there any thoughts that you had on this in terms of particular challenges to the regions, to the whichever thoughts you have on this at the moment?
I mean, women in the regions are a bit lucky because they have some programs and to get the support to start their businesses. At least I know several of them, including the one of them is the SIPE implementing the project. Another one is the Women Resource Centers in 17 regions of the country, where women can get some skills and some technical support to start their businesses. So, and through programs implemented by NGOs and international organizations and UN agencies, they really create an opportunity for women to get all the necessary support, even the vocational education, to start their businesses. I believe these programs will really be helpful for all these women to realize their dreams, to become more financially sustainable. I also forgot to mention in my previous speech that most of the vulnerable women who are divorced, widowed, or the wives of prisoners are facing is related to the financial dependency from their parents. And not all parents are able to afford financial support their children and grandchildren as well. So supporting this group of women and leading them to the financial independence, really helping to our community and promoting, developing their self-confidence and helping them to raise their kids in a normal circumstances, let's say, environment. So I just want to women live in the regions to follow the social platforms and other tools to get involved to such programs or get to know about these programs and benefit from them.
All right, so you're recommending that people follow these social programs that are educational, informative. So you were talking about the UN and different resource centers, but in the end of our program today, could you perhaps supply some links to whether it's an Instagram account or their Facebook site or whatever for people to perhaps follow?
Sure, I can, but also the women from the specific regions can find the women resource centers in their regions. They probably
Is
all
that
have.
what it's? Is it called Women's Resource Center?
Centers where they can get the necessary support, and I believe they can find them in the social platforms. They should have the pages in the Facebook and maybe other platforms as well, and be aware about the opportunities and activities that are available there.
Okay.
And not only them, but also they can follow our social platforms, also SIPE one, to get know about the opportunities as well.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. So, yes, sir.
Can I make a quick comment here?
Yes, please.
I'd just like to say that I think that participating in these programs is a really great opportunity, and that sometimes you might participate in an entrepreneurial program, and you might then decide not to start your business. But that, in my experience, many good things have still come out of that. So I've seen people that have, thought about starting a business, and then instead of starting their own business, they went to work in that industry, and they ended up taking a job in that industry. I've seen examples where someone was doing research, and their partner, it was a man entrepreneur, and his wife ended up getting a scholarship and a grant related to that business idea, and they still haven't started that business. So I think when you're passionate about something and you start working on it, and you start working with these experts and these programs, many good things can come out of it in addition to possibly starting a business. So people that are thinking about becoming involved in entrepreneurship, they have to realize that one, it's a process, and two, it doesn't always, the benefits aren't always what you thought they were going to be. But there's
Right.
other good benefits for engaging in these programs.
Excellent point. Thank you.
I can also give an example on this matter. I know there is a young lady in Zaqatala also who was working in a full-time job as a HR officer in a good factory in the business, but she left that job and collected all her saving and started the beekeeping business, but not for the reason of selling the honey from it, but creating the organic cosmetics from the honey. She get additional support from another source, the resource center, to a little bit promote her business. And I even saw her in different pairs as well. And now she received expansion support from Uluçay to expand her business, establish her own workshop at home, and to create new products, to expand the sales, and to develop her business. So people are sometimes, not always, but sometimes are leaving the job to be more free and enjoy the life. And she's a mother of three kids. So she's spending time at home by working on her business and raising her child. And there are a lot of such examples as well.
Yeah.
That's a great example. Thank you for sharing. That's good. So Gulnara, you asked some questions in Azerbaijani, and so some of the participants here have responded. I think you can see the comments. Yes.
Yes. So I will now read and translate.
If you wouldn't mind translating them and then responding, and you can respond in Azerbaijani if that works.
Yes. So Vishal bir destek yazdı. Financial support. Also, Ms. Aysu, she wrote in English. She's an English teacher, and she's been lived here for last 4 years. And she writes that, I think if women from rural area will start business, they need first of all IT support, transport, and expert for advice. Thank you very much, Aysu Hanım. O cevabı da tərcümə edəcəm. Aysu Hanım hesab edir ki, kənd yerlərindən xanımlar biznesə başlasalar, ilk növbədə onlar IT sahədə dəstək istəyərlər, nəqliyyat üçün dəstək istəyərlər və məsləhət üçün ekspertlərdən kömək. Maşa xanım yazıb ki, bilik və bacarıqlarımızı artırmaq üçün maarifləndirici təlimlər və maddi dəstək istəyirik. Ms. Marsha wrote that we would like to have trainings and capacity building and financial support to develop our own capacities.
Was that from Masha?
Yes,
Miss Masha. In which field is she? Just generally speaking, or did she specifically focus in on one area of business for Ms.
Maşa,
Masha?
she is from Haçmaz, but Maşa xanım zəhmət olmasa yazardınız. Hansı sahədə biznesiniz varsa hansı sahədədir? Like she wrote that she wants to learn English. Bu çox gözəl arzudur. Maşa xanım yazıb ki, ingilis dilini öyrənmək istəyirəm. Bizə kurslar açın. Please open courses, English courses for us.
Okay, so it's noted in here. I'm noting these things. So English is my area. I'm just moderating this. I'm not a business person, but I do really appreciate the comments from Isu because I have a curiosity about entrepreneurship, and I am always surprised by how many excellent teachers I see, women, and how most of the times the businesses, whether it's a test prep center or a tutoring center, are owned and operated by men. And I'm always surprised because the women that I've run into in the field here, and I've been here for almost 2 years, I keep thinking if they wanted to branch out, they have these excellent skill sets. They would need the kind of training that you're all speaking of in terms of running and operating a small business. But they would make, there's such a desire, as Ms. Masha said, there's such a desire to improve English that this seems to me like it would be an excellent opportunity for a small business. So both for Masha and for Isu, I think there's a lot of opportunity. And in terms of what the embassy might offer for language instruction, online language instruction, please check the embassy's website because there are, whether you're in the regions or here in Baku, there are opportunities that will be coming up for online language instruction, particularly for English teachers, beginning in April. So I can speak to that. But for the other...
I'm sorry, Masha wrote that she is producing milk products and bread. And just please let me just briefly translate the last sentence you said. It might be important for the participants. Tiffany Hanım dedi ki, yani bu Amerika Səfirliyin səhifəsini izləyin, virtual Amerika güşələri səhifəsini də izləyin. Bu yaxınlarda apreldən başlayaraq müxtəlif online İngilis dili kursları imkanları olacaq, xüsusən İngilis dili müəllimləri üçün. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, please, Tiffany. Yeah.
Wonderful. There was also a comment from Layla, and she said, this is so nice to hear. If only I knew about this program. And I think she was referencing either Gulnara or Ilyas's program 12 years ago when I was a single mom of a 13 and 4-year-old. And I started my business and had never worked a day before in my life. So, like, I love to hear stories about women who are making it happen. But clearly it's just another reminder that it's so important to have both support within your community and then outside support for education and ways of maintaining your business and ways of growing your business. So,
she did it without any support. So it's
amazing.
I admire her.
Absolutely. And thanks for sharing that, Layla. So before we close out here, are there any things that any of our panelists would like to share or any final thoughts before we close up here?
I would say that it looks like there's a lot of really positive entrepreneurial activities in Azerbaijan that, there's always challenges. That's why we have entrepreneurship. But to hear about all these excellent programs is really exciting to hear about. And I know it's hard work what Ilinas and Gulnara are doing to support entrepreneurs. So I think it's really inspiring to hear about.
It is inspiring to hear. And as an outsider, as a visitor to your country, it's really a pleasure and an honor to be able to hear about these, particularly women, since that's the point of this, these women who are doing this amazing work and in often difficult circumstances. So I feel really honored to be able to witness or hear about these experiences and meet some of these women. So it's incredible, and they should feel very proud. You know, like Layla, who sent that message in, extremely proud of herself for that accomplishment. That's, you know, it's not an easy task to do, and what an amazing feat to have started and continued a business with in often difficult circumstances. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you all for sharing your insights and expertise. I think that you summarized that nicely, Rich. So thank you for doing that. Summarized our time here together nicely. The embassy will be sharing a link for some workshops that are available if you'd like to continue pursuing the ideas of women in business, and or because of your request English. Someone just posted a link to one of the workshops that we'll be doing, that I'm doing in English. So for you to continue down this journey, whatever that might be. As Rich said, sometimes you have an idea in mind to follow this goal towards owning your own business, and along that path, other things show up. And which I hope is what might happen for some of you here today, is that you were curious to show up and learn about these things. And whether that takes you down the road to opening your own business or opens up other doors for you, we really hope that this was an opportunity for you to grow in whichever way is available and possible here. So I thank you all, the panelists, for being here today and for sharing your expertise and your reflections and information. And I thank you all of the attendees out in Facebook for showing up today. And I thank the embassy for creating this space for us to be here today. And with that, I wish you all a happy Friday and a fantastic weekend.